Welcome to A Day with FM Zone. It's a global initiative to bring in the leadership perspective and also understand the global practices and share the experience from the leaders, and also education series to build what can be done for the upcoming FM professionals. And today we have Don Gilpin, who is the CEO and President of IFMA, and Lisa, my co-host. Welcome, Don, and welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vinay. Good morning.
Don, we're
Morning.
really pleased that you joined us. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. I've been looking forward to this.
That's great. In your role as president and CEO at IFMA, you are responsible for the success of a trade association that spans the globe. No pressure there at all. What skill or characteristic do you believe best supports you in that role?
Sure, thanks. Well, I've had a bit of experience leading organizations on a global perspective for a number of years, and what I've found that helps me personally is to keep a global perspective in mind with regards to all the goods and services that we offer, all the communications that we produce. And me personally, when I speak to a particular industry, I always think in terms of a global audience, if you will. I kind of think it in this term, we're all in it together and we all want the same thing. We all want a successful professional life. We all want a successful personal life. We all want a meaningful spiritual life. And that transcends country borderlines. So I try to approach my work in that kind of an outlook, a real global outlook. And you have to be open-minded and want to learn about different people. This is a people business that we're in. Association management is a people business. And I find it fascinating. I personally enjoy different cultures and different learning to know new people around the world and getting to know them. But in a nutshell, I guess that's what I would have to say is that I approach this position with a global mindset, if you will, knowing that as humans on this globe, that we all basically want the same thing.
I really got a sense for that when I spoke with you at World Workplace last year. I enjoyed that conversation. So that's great.
I
Thank you.
remember that. Yeah, thank you.
So Don, I think we have seen under your leadership that how things have changed and evolved. I think it's proven how your leadership has contributed to what it is today in couple of years.
Thank you.
And your part to IFMA seems to have through a variety of leadership roles, as you said, you played earlier, up through the trades. What specifically attracted you to this FM as a profession that wanted to invest your leadership in?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Well, Vinay, a couple of reasons why IFMA attracted me personally. Number one is as I learned about IFMA, it occurred to me that I actually was a facility manager or in FM in the early years of my career. As a matter of fact, through my college days, I worked for a corporation in Minneapolis called the Dayton Hudson Corporation, and I worked in a department called Office Services. And if you looked at the role of Office Services and the things that they had me doing as a young man, just starting out with my education and career, they were FM. They were definitely in facility management, and I enjoyed that learning experience so much. They asked me to come back every year for those 4 years of college, and I learned so much. And what I learned from that experience and how it applied to IFMA and my interest in IFMA is that I understand as a facility manager, you need to be a very good generalist. You need to know a broad range of items. You need to have a deep knowledge of a lot of different items across the board. And that attracts me. I consider myself a generalist as well. I don't necessarily dive deep into one particular aspect of association management, but I understand the wide spectrum. So the idea of FM handling so many different items within the job responsibility, the fact that IFMA is an internationally focused organization, and that FM itself is something that maintains a generalist type approach. That attracted me quite a bit to FM. And as I got to learn the people within the organization, within the professional staff, the volunteers, everyone I've met along the way, I sure am glad I made the decision, because the IFMA membership is unique. It is a unique group of people that are dedicated to their profession, to advancing their profession, but they also like each other. They like to be together. They like to socialize, and they like to learn together. And that appeals to me as well.
And they really know how to party too.
They do indeed. They do indeed.
I really like what you spoke to about facility managers being generalists and having so much to cover. They have to know so much about so many
Indeed.
aspects of the building. You have your finger on that pulse of global facility management. So with all those different things that they need to know, what do you believe is the highest priority that all FMs should be focusing on, regardless of the size of their organization or the global reach?
Right. Well, at IFMA, we have a strategic theme, and it's paraphrased as following. IFMA wants to be your lifelong learning partner. And if I were to summarize, if you will, what I would think would be the most important aspect of FM today, particularly post-pandemic, is to invest in your career by adding to your knowledge base, tapping into IFMA's content, and really looking to IFMA as your lifelong learning partner. Be willing to be open to new technologies. Be willing to learn more about the human factor of the built environment. We've learned so much during the pandemic, and certainly after the pandemic, that the facility manager not only is responsible for asset management and operations and maintenance, but in today's environment, and this is globally again, the FM is now responsible for that human being that occupies that building. We're responsible for the health, the safety, the security, all those things that as human beings we're now expecting from the built environment. That's another layer on top of what we already are responsible for within the facility management profession. So it's an exciting time for us. We've seen the term facility management in the news a lot post-pandemic. But Lisa, to answer your question, to kind of like put a period at the end of the sentence, I would have to say invest in your career and really lean on IFMA as that lifelong learning partner. It's going to be imperative that the FM be seen as that almost a subject matter expert within the built environment. The C-suite is looking at the facility manager. The regular occupants of the built environment are looking to the FM. And society really is looking to the FM to make sure that when we as human beings occupy a space, whether it's at work, whether it's at play, whether it is at worship, what have you, we're living 90% of our lives in the built environment. And the FM is central to that. So invest in your career, please.
Thank you.
You bet.
Vinay, we're not hearing you.
Thank you, Don. I think upskilling and reskilling is a need of an hour, and learning is never ends. So I think looking at the dynamics in the workplace, I keep saying people, you don't just manage the physical buildings today. With the pandemic, you learn to manage the virtual spaces, right? So workplace is not limited to the physical environment.
Well
So the
said.
facility, yeah, the facility profession is rapidly evolving to include a broader workplace management, new technologies, hybrid environment, and higher focus on the facilities. New role is workers. Typically, if you look at retention of people, what is the best advice for a facilities professional to help them to stay prepared for leadership in this environment?
Sure. Well, again, I would just say take advantage of IFMA and take advantage of all of the opportunities to volunteer within the organization. This is where you hone your leadership skills. And that's the beautiful thing about IFMA and trade associations in general. They allow the profession to get involved with their industry, with their profession, if you will, and it provides you the opportunity to improve your leadership skills and also to be seen as a leader globally. I think that in addition to adding to your knowledge base, in addition to um, leaning on IFMA as your lifelong learning partner, again, there's that phrase. I would have to say that getting involved and making that first step is 99% of the effort. Just getting involved and being present in those leadership roles and volunteering. So many people I've seen over the years, and this is not just IFMA or FM, but just generally in professions, they're shy about getting involved. They may say like, "Oh, I think that I don't know enough, or I'm not skilled in technology enough, or I don't have the people skills like so and so does." Um, Everyone has that same uh, feeling. Everyone has that same kind of insecurity. But if you just dip your toe in the water, if you get involved, I guarantee you the water's safe, and it's a great opportunity to be seen and to really hone those leadership skills.
You have to allow yourself to be voluntold.
There you go.
I think
That's right. To be voluntold.
so. The focus is on leadership. I think as FM professional has to transform from a facility manager to a business leader. I think we need to think that how do we drive as a CEO FM business and understand the aspects and dynamics, looking at what the stakeholder needs are, what the employees needs are, what is the community. And today everything is becoming very dynamic and challenging, integrating technologies, human factors, and also looking at the cost of our operations and ESG typically being there now. It's global. So how do you contribute to environment, governance, as well as sustainability? I think this is where FM can really create an impact. And knowledge and competency building has to be with respect to the dynamics of the industry. And I've been a member of IFMA from 2006, and it has helped me to shape up my career. And so for Lisa too, I think thank you, Don. I think it was great insight. And I have one question, Don, outside the topic. As a global leader, what is your thought process to build for the next 4 5 years? I know you've been done a lot of transformation with respect to IFMA and initiatives. What is that you look for next 3 to 5 years?
Well, Vinay, I'm so glad that you asked me that question because I'm going to be repeating the same mantra for the next upcoming years. And that is all about workplace development. And I'm so glad you asked me that question because workplace development is so important to me personally and also to our industry. I believe that IFMA provided or conducted rather research recently that showed that the average facility manager is he or she is in their early 50s. Now, what we have seen also post pandemic is an exponential demand in facility management. We have the need for thousands of facility managers, and yet we don't have a pipeline of individuals that A, want FM as a career, or B, they may not even know what FM is. So I'm going to be working with IFMA uh, volunteers. We're going to be working with IFMA's marketing department. We're going to be providing a toolkit for all of the members of IFMA to actually go out globally and speak to high school kids, speak to individuals in skilled labor like an electrician, an HVAC professional, a plumber, any of these target markets. And in the United States, we're actually going to be approaching the U.S. military that is returning to a civilian career. All of this is in an effort to make FM and IFMA um, available to them, to an awareness campaign, if you will, to introduce these people into the occupation of FM. It's a wonderful occupation. It's a challenging occupation. It's well paid, and you can raise a family on this occupation. But we have a problem on our hands. We need to start creating a much larger pipeline of fundamentally trained individuals that want to come into FM as a profession. And then we'll introduce them to IFMA as their lifelong learning partner. But in short, Vinay, thank you for that question. It's so important to me. It should be important to all of us that we are an army of ambassadors and reaching out to as many people in different communities as possible and making them aware of what is FM and what is IFMA, because I don't see that the need for facility management is ever going to wane. It's always going to be on the increase. And we need, as an organization, we as IFMA need to take charge and take leadership in that arena. Thank you for that question.
That
Thank you, Don.
that was a perfect segue into a potential future guest. We'll be inviting Diane Levine and Jim
Perfect.
Caldwell in to speak about the pre-apprenticeship programs.
That's perfect. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Just want to commit, Don. I think your vision on workplace development, we're all there with you to drive that in whichever region we are in. I think it's so inspiring. And I think, as you said, this profession will not dry up. The only thing is, as long as there are buildings, you need a facility manager to manage them. So this profession is going to grow. There is no dearth of
Absolutely.
opportunities. And thank you, Don, for taking out time from your schedule. We'd love to have again, maybe after 6 months, to understand more insights. And thank you for joining us. And thank you, Lisa. And thank
Thank
you
you
all for
both.
watching us.
Yeah. It was great being with both of you. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thank you.